Welcome back again to another episode of Pay It Forward. Today we got Zach Sherman with us with Rush. And this dude is a distinguished Navy sailor dude, man. Awesome guy. I've been talking to him back to back. Has a lot of pretty good experiences and um input to give out to everybody. Welcome, Zach. How you doing?
I'm doing well, David. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, not a problem, man. I'm excited about this live. We've been talking, behind closed doors and stuff
Yeah,
like that. And you're an awesome guy, man. It's a lot of good good experiences that you have.
yeah, man. It's always good, and I'm excited to share those experiences with not just you, but the rest of the community, and hopefully, I can help out a fellow brother and sister out there in the vet world.
Outstanding, man. Yeah, and that's what we're here for. We were talking a little bit about some of the, the hardships and how difficult sometimes it could be to transition over from the civilian world, from the military world to the civilian world, and perhaps having the upper hand of other vets giving advice and what worked for them and what didn't work for them. Usually, does goes a pretty long way. But yeah, tell us a little bit about your Navy career, when you started, what you did, and how is that translated into your civilian sector now?
Okay. I joined the Navy December 8th, 2011. I was sent into the submarine force for the Navy as a MMA, so a machinist mate auxiliary man. So it's a fancy way of saying he was a mechanic that also kind of worked on nuclear stuff, but not really. Like we followed the rules of them, but we weren't actually nukes. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so we were like engineering called us, we were the bastard children. We didn't really belong to the forward half of the guys. We didn't belong to the aft guys. We were just kind of there. And if anyone needed anything like, oh no, oxygen, that's we produced oxygen. So like we were that guy. And with that comes a lot of quality assurance, which is
Right.
actually what translated over. So my first boat, Columbus out of Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, did 4.5 years there. Then I went to NOSC Tampa and worked with SOCOM down in Tampa. And then after that, I was in um, Groton, Connecticut on the USS Providence, where I actually got hurt and medically retired. Um, but as far as skills that I've learned, I think every military person like out there has all the skills needed to succeed. As you know, if you did 1 year, 4 years, whatever the case may be, leadership. I think everyone loves leadership, the ability to take charge of any circumstance, of any task given to you, taking charge and making that task your own. I think a lot of companies like seeing that you've got the initiative, you've got the drive. Um, Soft skills like communicating. Soft skills
Yes.
are a very overlooked thing out there in the job market. You could have someone who's an ace mechanic or anything, but if you can't talk to someone, you can't talk to the customer, you can't talk to, your boss's boss, then people are going to overlook you. So, mastering the soft skills, I think, is just as important as mastering your craft.
And I will say that a lot of us, when we came into the service, we spoke a little bit about this previously. We all have tremendous skill, right? And we're all leaders when we joined, right? We all have that drive, and but the military has a way of sharpening those skills and translating it to, you kind of start. Um, Building your own leadership style and your own way of operating with personnel and people, and you kind of find your groove within, right? What would you say that those community like communicating skills, for example, that you were describing, made a difference once you got to the civilian sector?
So once you get to the civilian sector, I think it was difficult, right? So you're used to talking in chain of command stance and like, E4 to E5 and that world. So I think they're learning how to how to talk to your junior personnel and making it more family friendly is what I've used in the civilian side. You're not telling someone to do it. You're asking politely, like, hey, we need to get this done versus, hey, get this done. And I think that's a huge thing that a lot of vets struggle with. And I admit, like, even nowadays, like, I just got out in September of 2022, and I still kind of struggle with that from time to time. But once you find that perfect balance of, being nice and telling them, hey, we need to do this versus we need to do this, people are more receptive to kindness than you being mean all the time.
And I think that is very important, right? There's a very fine line between being authoritative and being rude, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's very important, right? And I think another very interesting aspect um, of our our culture, I would say, is that we become very well or very aware of talent management, right?
Yes.
Do you feel that the military kind of tuned that in for you a little bit and gave you like a competitive edge in the civilian sector when it comes to talent management? Are you able to identify certain like people or employees that do something very well and you capitalize on that?
Yeah, I think that's it. With me personally, I am able to again pick out who's good at what they do, and if they're not good at that thing, finding out what they should be doing versus what they're doing now. And I think utilizing personnel to the best of their ability to accomplish any mission that any company has is as vital for a leadership position as anything else. You really got to get to know your people. Like, this guy's really good at paperwork. He's not going to turn a wrench very well. This is your paperwork guy, and he is going to excel. You don't want paperwork guy turning wrenches. That makes sense to me. And I'm a jack of all trades personally, so I've been really good about a lot of things. But I will admit, like, paperwork is my weakness, and I have expressed that to my leadership. I'm like, hey guys, I can do quality assurance all day. I'll check these parts, everything. Everyone's gonna be safe at the end of the day. But you maybe put a signature on something. Now we've got an issue.
Yeah, you got me reading stuff. That's I don't
Yeah.
know. I understand where you're coming from, right? So talent management is very important. And tell us a little bit how in Rush, for example, that talent management takes part in that company, right? Because I'm sure that you have leadership that that you work for or
Mhm.
your boss or whatever. And how does he implement those um those skills that you do have into your work, like your AO, essentially your work area, your
Yeah.
your day-to-day task?
So it's Roush, but close.
Roush, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good,
That's
man.
is the accent.
Yeah, no, you're all right. We're all gonna make it. So talent, as far as like the talent skill, my boss has realized, like, again, he knows what I can do and what I'm comfortable with doing for maximum efficiency. And like I said, you can give me all these parts and I can measure them up and I can do everything it needs to do off of a schematic and to a T tell you like the specs of everything and tell you like this piece is good to go. And I am okay with that. We all have that attention to detail because we're told, like, if you don't have attention to detail in the military, someone's going to die, especially in the submarine force. If you're going underwater and water starts coming in, that's not good. There's nowhere else
That's
to
not
go.
good.
That's not good. Water
It's like
doesn't go to
one of my biggest fears, man. Prop to you, right, for being able to go in a submarine underwater, because there's not a chance that I'm able to do that.
Yeah, I didn't think
Okay.
that I could do it either. But I
Yeah,
did
it's
for enough.
great, man.
Yeah, but yeah, we want to make sure water doesn't go into the people tank, and so I take that same mentality with me with everything that I quality, do QA with. Make sure that every piece that I get is, to the level that we need to, because what we're doing right now with Roush, the entertainment side, is we work with Universal and Disney and stuff. So if you mess a part up or something in there and that gets put into, let's say, a ride or an animatronic, someone gets hurt, it's going to come back to us, and my name
Yeah.
is going to be all over that. So I'm like, okay, now I've got to be extra careful and make sure that everyone gets home safe, not only at work, but many years down the line with like Universal and Disney.
Yeah, it's definitely a big responsibility. So, for example, I was a parachute rigger in the service, and my name was on multiple loads, multiple parachutes for personnel, and having that accountability of all the work that you do and having such attention to detail to all of that definitely is. It could be taxing, but also very rewarding. And how about you talk to us a little bit also? How did you manage to, you know, transition over from the civilian world and land a job with such an awesome company?
Persistence. Like I said, my entire driving course we've talked about. My wife has been my driving force for everything. You apply for Lockheed Martin and everything over and over and over again. You get the email saying, "Sorry, we don't like we're not interested. We're not interested." And my wife was the one telling me every day, like, "Don't worry, it happens. Someday someone's going to take a chance on you, and they're not going to regret it. They're not going to look back." And I think she's right, and persistence and just hitting it over and over and over again, and revising your resume. She
Okay.
helped me out substantially with that because again, we military people, we don't have a resume. We get like an eval and that's it. I don't know how the army does it, but with
No, it's the
Navy, it's
same way.
yeah.
Same
So
way.
that here's a piece of paper. This is what you did this year. You ranked this with the E4s, E5s, whatever. And I was transitioning out and I was like, wow, my resume looks really good. My wife was like, no, it doesn't.
No, you
It
need to
was just
work on
like,
that.
yeah, I was like,
There's
oh no.
definitely room from improvement, honey.
Yeah, exactly. So she was like in my driving force to helping with that. And with that, just that with persistence and every day not being afraid of rejection. I think a lot of
Okay.
people, from what I've realized, is when they're applying for a job, they'll see something. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm qualified to do that. And if I were to look at the Roush's quality assurance thing, I probably don't know 7/8 of what's on that paragraph. But like it's just
That
don't be
makes
afraid
sense.
and just apply for it.
Do you feel that it would have helped you, right? Right now the DoD has a program called Skill Bridge, right? I think we kind of talked about that. It gives, service members the opportunity to intern with awesome companies and kind of get their feet wet and be able to, see where they fit in. Do you feel like that would have helped you during your transitioning period?
Yeah, of course. So the only reason I didn't do skill bridge is because I was getting medically separated. So I didn't know when I was getting out until like a month before I was getting out. So
Got
it
it.
wasn't it wasn't letting me do that 6 months, prior to getting out and transitioning. So I was kind of in like a tough spot with my transition, which made it that much more difficult to transition to
Right.
the civilian side. So, would I have loved that? Absolutely. I 1000% would have loved a skill bridge opportunity with like companies like Equinix, like Lockheed, anyone. Like you see them, they're out there. And a lot of military commands have to do a better job about that, taking care of their personnel and letting them know, like, here's the resources. Because when I was in, no leadership's going to tell you, like, hey, here are the resources because they want to keep you in.
Yep. And it's something that we're bringing awareness about, right? Like
Exactly.
skill bridge is an opportunity, that you could take, right? It's not a right, unfortunately, right? But it's something that service members could capitalize on, right? And having a lending hand like Seven Eagle Group, right, help you transition out and find those companies for you and being able to place you there, right? It definitely creates a lot less stress when it comes to service members transitioning
Oh,
out.
absolutely. It gives you it would have given me a peace of mind. I talk with my wife all the time about all this stuff, but I think I chose transition on pretty much hard mode because not only I was transitioning, I was looking for a job and then I was thrown into school. I'm in school right now for cybersecurity. So now I've got work full time, going to school for cybersecurity. I'm about to have a baby. Like when I got out, there was all ahead full, no, don't looking back, and it has just been go 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 go.
Yeah, it could be definitely taxing. It could be taxing, and having a good professional that's kind of in your on your side of the court cheering
Yeah,
you on and trying to at least at the bare minimum be that bridge between hiring managers and your military talk and how that you're talking about your resume, right? Being able to translate your military resume into a
human
more
being.
human
Yeah,
being civilian sector. I think that would very much close the gap between transitioning service members and a solid employer, right?
yeah.
Would you have any tips when it comes to applying, for example, like for Roush, right? It seems perhaps intimidating for some people, right? Working for such a, I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar company,
Yeah.
and it could be like you said. You mentioned persistence and being able to do that, but is there any tips that you can give as far as like resumes and skill sets that they could annotate on and all of that?
Yeah, let me do my best here. So everyone wants attention to detail. That was a big one that I've got in my resume. They want, like I said, soft skills, but being able to explain what you did from military to the human side without using a million acronyms. Because every one of us uses a million acronyms and everything, and you can put 1,000 of them on a resume, and the civilian sector is going to look at that and be like, okay, well, he knows the alphabet. Like
Right,
that's
right.
that. So being able to translate the acronyms into human talk is something that I wish someone would have told me. And hard numbers. You could say, yeah, I did many valve maintenances, I did this, but hard numbers, like I was in charge of over 3,000 valves and was in charge of over $1.5 billion worth of equipment and stuff. They want numbers. They don't want like,
Quantitative
yeah,
quantitative numbers. Okay.
yeah, they want like visual numbers to say, because you can say I did some there, I did that, but that's not driving the point home that you were in charge of 900 people. Saying like I was in charge of three, a few, some. They're like, okay,
Right.
that doesn't mean anything to me. And if you say 900, like, oh, so this guy is a leader, and every one of us has that. If anything, we all have attention to detail and leadership built into us.
Is it do you think that, when it comes to resumes, would you say that um having a 3-page resume would be more effective, or would you say that less is more?
So it is. I think it's difficult as you progress more and more in your military career. You got more and more experience, and having to take 10 years of my adult life and then smash it into 2 pages was probably the most difficult thing, because there's a lot of like stuff that they don't want to care. They don't care that you did like 7 deployments. They don't care you've got all these medals and rooms. They want someone that can work. They don't care about any of your military. So it's really tough to filter out the fancy stuff and just do, this is what you want, this is the bare bones of what you are getting, and that's what the company wants to see, is the bare bones. They don't care about the deployments, any of that. So
Also, it's very important to realize that also being able to tailor those resumes, right, to the actual job that you're looking at, your job description, might
absolutely.
be very, very beneficial for a lot of these transitioning service members, right? To be able to essentially just tell the employer or make them hear what they want to hear, right?
Yeah,
Because I'm pretty sure that most people or most transitioning service members are very capable of fulfilling a lot of roles in the civilian sector, right? But it's very important to be able to pay attention to that job listing, the job description, and being able to concisely send us a resume that fills that need, right?
absolutely. Yeah, because when you put your resume in, they're robots. They're going to filter it, and they're looking for certain words. So you've got a very important tip there, is making sure if you look in the job description, put in 3 or 4 of those big hitting, whatever they're putting in there that stands out in that job description. Put those words somewhere in your resume. Like for me, example, like I've got a resume for like my tech side that
Okay.
I've been doing, and I've got a resume for my overall side, and then I've got a resume for my mechanical side. So every little bit helps, and like you said, being able to use that to your advantage and just reading a job description. And if you really want that job, looking over that and seeing what words you can take there and where you can plug those words into your resume to make you stand out. So the company is like, oh, wow, this guy not only is perfect for our job, but he's paying attention to that. And then learning like that company's motto, like what makes that company tick, like Rousj is like, think outside the box, or whatever the case may be. Just know when they call you, if a recruiter calls you, like, hey, why do you want to work for us? And then you can just spit back, like, this is the company's motto, this is their mantra, this is how they do things, and I'm a huge supporter of that. And then from there, that you get your first interview.
Absolutely. And also it's very important to be aware of your resources as well, right? I mean, every single military base has the transitions office and all these resources that are given to soldiers, and I think they're underutilized, right? Like, yes, we all go through the transitioning phase where you do tabs or whatever it's called in the Navy. I'm not entirely sure,
It's
but
taps for us, yeah.
tabs, right? So you do tabs, but it's a one-time thing. Service members fail to realize that it's something that they could go back to, right? Like, if you are having issues with your resume, if you are having issues with interview uh etiquette or whatnot, then you could go back to those resources and try and exploit them as much as you can for your benefit.
Well, absolutely. And not only that, but networking. One thing I realized is networking is huge. That's how we met, was networking. Networking is probably in today's day and age the most important thing. And yeah, your Instagram, Facebook, like LinkedIn, like has been just a vast. It's been a vast bank of just knowledge. You can go through there and find something for anything. And I personally, like I said, using it for like cybersecurity, like just linking up with a bunch of cybersecurity people, like doing what I can to study for the next test, and that's all because of LinkedIn. Networking is the future. Like,
And I agree. I would say that, I mean, LinkedIn has, I mean, like you said, we met through there, right? We kicked it right off, very professional, very down
yeah,
to the point, and you build relationships upon that, right? And during that process, it just makes it so much easier to be able to ask for help, ask for advice, ask for tips, ask for whatever the case might be in a very professional manner. And if the people that are, not on LinkedIn right now, I would very much suggest, to start opening up, their LinkedIn, start networking with people that are relevant to their niche or what they want to get involved with, like the automotive industry in my case. And you're doing your cybersecurity stuff, and it just works perfectly because it just aligns, right? So kind of plan your future and build upon that. It's very important, right?
yeah, do that while you're in. If I could give my past self things any form of advice, you get 1 year free for an active duty service for a premium LinkedIn. A lot of people don't know that. Utilize that while you're still in. Utilize the fact that you're still in, and network from the day you find out. Not even the day, like right now. Even if you've got 10 years left in your contract, whatever, do it now and immediately start networking. Because when it's your time to go out, the government, the Navy, they or whatever, they will be like, all right, you're done, and you're on your own now. And you have to learn
Thank
how to
you.
walk
Thank you
again.
for your service.
Yeah, thank you for your service. You're on your own now. You're a baby giraffe trying to walk in the civilian side.
Yeah, it could be definitely intimidating as well, right? I mean, you kind of go out of your circle of your sailors, your battle buddies, whatever the
Yeah,
case might be, and it's wild, right? So building that solid foundation in the beginning before you're struggling, it's a very vital step that I would definitely recommend to anyone that is considering transitioning out of the military, or even if you're not, right? Even
exactly.
during your military career, you can make great connections in your organization, just by you know um, connecting with people that are relevant.
You're right. And that's one thing also is the military is temporary. Enlisted can do what up to 24 years with, and up to 30 if you get was an admiral's, an admiral billet essentially.
Right.
But the military is not permanent. It is going to end sooner than later, and like mine ended sooner than I expected. So again, that really put a dent into my plans. But everything worked out for the absolute best, fortunately in my case. But you've got to prepare yourself at a moment's notice. The military is temporary. The military is temporary. The military is temporary. It's not a forever thing.
Yes.
It is temporary. The mentality is permanent. The mentality of the military is always going to be there, but that job is not a forever job.
Absolutely. And I wanted to express, man, how happy I am with the level of positivity and awesome things that are happening in your life right now. I mean, there's a lot going on that we talked about behind closed doors or whatnot,
Yeah.
and you have many blessings coming your way, and you seem to be um, doing exactly what I would want any transitioning service member to be able to go through, right? Being able to slow down a little bit, appreciate life, and get the job that they want, with the career that they want, with the family that they have, and just take on life. And I am very appreciative of your time, also, and I really am thankful to have you here and being part of your network now. And
Yeah.
it's definitely been a pleasure talking to you, my man.
Absolutely, man. And it was an honor being on this, podcast and with 7 Eagle Group. I know you guys are out there doing good things for vets, and I really hope that my message or anything is able to help just anybody out. And it was an honor. It really was.
Yep. I encourage everybody to go ahead and find Zach on LinkedIn, and go ahead and connect with him. He's a very knowledgeable individual, very humble dude, very easy to talk to. I know I'm definitely going to be hitting him up uh, more than you think. But let's go into the comments real quick. It says, "How are we changing the truck industry? I'm a first unit level recruiting before deploy for one, and I will grow our company because we know they will be ready to transition out. Makes life better." Um, it's how we are changing. Yeah, absolutely. I would say that's Sean. That's definitely the way that everything is headed to, and that's a very good outlook to have. But yep, I'm gonna go ahead, man, cut it short now, man. I appreciate your time once again.
Yes, sir.
You are an outstanding individual. I can't wait to see what kind of collaboration we could end up doing with Roush at some point. And yeah,
Perfect,
very
man.
much appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course, man. I'm an open book. If you want to, you can literally hit me up at any time because I know 7 Eagle Group does a lot with IT. So I'm gonna be hitting you up in the near future, my man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We would I would definitely give you guys a hand. And if you have anyone as well that needs the help when it comes to that, don't hesitate to call me or anybody from Seven Eagle. They're great people.
Of course, man. Well, you have a wonderful day. All right. Enjoy your
Y-
Saturday.
You too.
All
Much
right. Bye
love.
bye.
I'll talk to you later.